Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is a Mastermind Expo special. My name is Preston R. Harris, and I have the pleasure, the gift, the wonderful honor to have Michelle with us today from Bien Etre Foundation. Michelle, how you doing today?
Good, Preston. Thank you for having me. How are you?
Oh, Michelle, I am wonderful. I'm fantastic. I'm just getting better every second. Just so honored and so excited to have you here for this mastermind special. You're from the Bien Foundation. I'm going to go to your website real quick. We're going to share our screen just so we can check that out. Can you just introduce yourself a little bit to us and then share a little bit about what the Bien Foundation is all about?
No problem. So, my name is Michelle Aka. I am originally from the Ivory Coast. I'm the founder and president of Bien Etre Foundation, which was founded in 2023. So, we've been working for the past 3 years, going on our fourth year now. We work based on three pillars: education, healthcare, and youth entrepreneurship, mostly the youth who's been incarcerated. So, youth from age 13 to 17. We work with the Ivory Coast, the government, to make sure that those kids get the rehabilitation and items. Um, the necessary items in order for them to reintegrate the society, basically fit. So far, this is what we've been doing in the Ivory Coast, but we do work in other countries, um, other French countries in Africa, and a few English-speaking country also in Africa.
Awesome, awesome. I see Christmas for all Uganda here. I see Christmas for all Burkina Faso. Tell us about that. What is the Christmas for All project all about?
Last year was the initial Christmas for all. The reason behind it is we found that because of everything that's going on in Africa, some children are found on refugee camp. They basically find themselves on refugee camps. Of course, we have orphans and children who do not have shelters. So Christmas for All was to give an opportunity for those kids, basically, who've been going through hardship the whole year to celebrate Christmas like any other kid.
Okay. So let me make sure I understand this properly. So on the refugee camps, you go, you make sure that those kids have a great Christmas. So these kids usually don't have any families, or they're separated from their families, or what does their situation really look like?
Some of them, most of them are orphans. Some do have families, but unfortunately, because they've lost everything, those families have lost everything and find themselves in a refugee camp. They barely go to school, let alone have something that will allow them to be normal kids or normal children.
Mhm.
So what we do last year in Burkina, we basically partnered with the government to find out exactly how many children were on that specific refugee camp.
Mhm.
And we brought food, we brought toys, clothing, um, first aid kits, a little bit of music, some games. So those children basically have that one celebration at least. And also realize that someone sees them, basically, because when you go throughout your whole year without even having a bowl of rice, sometimes it's hard to know that, man, someone is looking at me. So it was our way to let them know that, we see you. Though we don't have much, but the little that we have on this specific day, we will share and give them hope as well.
Amazing, amazing. And I'm looking at this celebration of excellence. Tell us a little bit about that. What does that all entail?
The these pictures are different. The one that the celebration of excellence happens every July in the
Okay.
Ivory Coast. Every year we do have different mayors and president of different mutuals and villages basically reach out to us in order for us to come partner and celebrate the children in those villages. Our first celebration of excellence was in 2022. We had just started. We celebrated 68 students, and it was in one village called Mbato. And the second year, we decided to go back to the same because the first year we just had a few months to plan the first celebration. And so the number of children were limited. So we decided to go back to that same village in order to give them a bigger celebration of excellence. So in 2024, we had 300 students that we celebrated in the same village. We gave all of that, all the school supplies, the uniforms that they needed basically for the next school year, the scholar kits that they need. In the Ivory Coast, we are a French system. So most of the school kits needed, we get it from La Librairie de France, which is the library that all parents basically go based on the year and the edition that the schools basically choose to get the books for their children. We did have students that were basically transitioning from primary school to secondary school, and they take their first major national test in the country called Entrée en Sixième. So for those kids who are basically transitioning, we were able to award them computers and so 50,000 SEFA, which is the equivalent of $100, gift certificate from the library to them so that when they start school and they get the edition, the specific edition needed for that school year, the parents can get the books basically for them as well. And some of the money goes towards paying for their school fees.
That's wonderful. What led you to want to do this? Like, this is amazing work. This is very caring. It seems like you just really making a difference and like just positively impacting their lives. Why is this something that is important to you? Why is this something that you choose to do?
I will say that I grew up in a home that gives. My dad, my parents were diplomats, and my dad was always looking out for the community because being a diplomat, whichever country you work in, you're considered as being in the Ivory Coast.
Okay.
And so he always was looking out for the Ivorian people, and we grew up as such, even in the Ivory Coast and the countries that we've been in, and specifically here as well. He's always been there for the people. Um, I was always hearing my mom saying, I'm an orphan because she did not grow up knowing both her parents. She was 10 out of 10 children, and her parents died when she was extremely young. And she kept on saying, I'm going to build an orphanage when I grow up because, I'm going to build an orphanage when I have the money or when I have the possibility to do so because I feel that I need to take care of some kids. So I grew up with seeing my dad giving back to the community wherever he was, and hearing my mom also, she's big on anything that's social in churches. She's the head of the social department. And so, growing up in that environment, um, after I had my son, which he was born with an open heart surgery. So I took time after he was born to be there with him to watch him. But going through the process of, um, you know, when someone tells you the baby that cannot talk, cannot express himself, has this kind of diseases that He won't even know how to tell you, okay, well, this hurts or this doesn't hurt. You basically have to observe what's going on. And based on what you observe being home, then you have to call the cardiologist, call the pediatrician, call. After he was actually about 4 or 5, I said, you know what? I think I need to start giving back to the Ivory Coast. In the beginning, I was thinking about the Ivory Coast because my one thought anytime I go with him back home is if anything happens right now to Liam, I'm gonna have to fly back to the US because I cannot afford anybody here touching him. And I started Bien Etre with, the idea of partnering with the government, partnering with the different mayors, the deputies, senators, and try and see how we can better the system, basically put my little stone to building our community. I left the Ivory Coast when I was 14, so I basically grew up here. I have the US as a second family, but somewhat I feel safer here when it comes to, my kids' health, when it comes to my kids' education, when it comes to a lot of things. And the things that I have observed, the things that, I have gone through with my own children, I feel, there's a possibility to bring this back into the Ivory Coast, even if it's slowly. Um, and I did a couple of trips in other countries, and then I realized, listen, what's needed in the Ivory Coast is also needed in Ghana. It's also needed in Uganda. It's also needed in Burkina. So why limit myself to the Ivory Coast? Because at the end of the self
Oh,
being um, an an African, basically, let me put it this way, an African and not necessarily only an Ivorian. And
ooh,
so
that's
that's
big.
how
You
I
dropped the gem right
basically
there.
reached out. Sorry, sir.
I said you dropped the gem right there. We're gonna come back to that one, but go ahead, continue to finish. But that was a gem right there.
So so then I started looking for a partnership. I started reaching out to people in other countries and say, hey, I'd like to come to your country. It'll be my first time, but I would like to work for you. How can we make this day a good day, basically? And I will say that I am grateful to you, Mr. Preston, because you've introduced me to a lot of people, and they've been really in awe and amazed of the work that we do. That I myself, I'm like, so they have eyes on what we're doing, because this year, you do know that we were selected as honorees for at an international event, which I got stuck in New York City because the flight were oversold and no one wanted to give up their seat in order for me to go. So, so I got stuck in New York City. But knowing that there's someone who doesn't even know you, but is observing the work that you're doing and is calling onto you to say, hey, I'd like to award you a trophy. And having done that in only 3 years, it was a great honor.
Well, I mean, I think it really speaks to your heart in the work that you do. You know, it's great, for me coming from such a giving family, like my parents were nonprofit giving church all the time. So I understand where you're coming from with you were just taught to give and that's what you saw giving up. And the healthcare wise, for your son, that makes a big difference. When you have to you want to feel safe with your children being wherever that they're going to be and that they can get the proper care that's needed. So I need to step in and grab something, so I'm going to ask you this question. I'll be right back.
Okay.
But tell us about what your goals are with healthcare. I know we're going to talk about your goals with just the foundation, but with the healthcare side of things, because I do think that's really important.
Mhm.
And we're also going to come back to, I wrote this down. I'm an African, not just an Ivorian. Because we need to address that too. So I'm gonna come back to that one. But for right now, I want you to tell us about the healthcare side of things. Tell us about your goals from the healthcare side of things, and also tell, for those people who are listening who may want to be involved, how do they support what you got going on from the healthcare side of things, or what are your needs from that side? And I'll be right back on camera in just a second.
No problem. So when it comes for healthcare, we this year with VIP Socio Abidjan, we partnered with a nonprofit organization in the Ivory Coast called La Fondation Anne-Marie Oufouette Fete, where the president of that foundation basically takes care of families with premature babies. She has fought with the government to make sure that May 15th becomes a national day for the kangaroo method. Of course, everyone know the skin to skin needed for babies basically to connect with their parents. And for premature babies, studies have shown that helps them actually get out of the NICU faster. So we partnered with Mama Kaguru, that's how they call her in the Ivory Coast, with another organization based in Atlanta here. As the president, they have Miss Selena Smith. The organization is called Trust Your Strength. And so all three of us basically went to the Ivory Coast on that national day to visit Yamoussoukro, which is the political capital of the Ivory Coast. So we did our there was a conference that was given. There was some interviews with mothers who have had premature babies, but unfortunately those babies did not survive, and also mothers who have had premature babies and their babies are in the NICU. It was our first edition this year, May 15th, and we took the opportunity to visit the different NICUs, the hospitals that they have in the area, and to donate items to those two hospitals. Next year we're planning another trip because I believe it's becoming a yearly thing. We're planning another trip for that specific day, and Miss Selena was able to basically gather a few other mothers who have gone through the NICU to participate and to come for that trip also in the Ivory Coast. Healthcare wise, my goal personally is to be able to build medical centers. 2 years ago, when we first, well, a year within Bien Etre, we visited Yamoussoukro and met one of the kings of Yamoussoukro and was given a 5 acre of land because the city has become the airport of the city had become an international airport. So because they're working on the airport to have flights directly from France land into Yamoussoukro, they're looking at um, basically bettering the city. So they had given us 5 acres of land for us to build a medical center, which when done and once done, it'll be the first medical center that Bien Etre will basically be participating in building. I had already worked on a few contacts that I had here when it comes to the medical supplies and the medical equipments once that's done. And so we have hands on, or right then and there, the equipment needed to treat anyone that walks into the hospital. Um, we're looking for partners. It's a huge project. We're looking for partners. We're looking for architects. We're looking for builders. We're looking for funding. We're looking for anyone interested in basically putting their little stone to this major, I'll say, um, project because
Undertaking.
I
Yeah, that's
cannot do it
huge.
by myself. I cannot do it only with a mastermind. I cannot do it only with mastermind and VIP socio. It has to really take, people will say it takes a village to raise a child, but it has to take a whole city, I will say, or a whole country, a partnership with the whole country in order to make that happen. We do not want to stop there because the need is huge. And that's not only, like I said, in the Ivory Coast, it's all over. We go, I hear stories, I see things, I witness them myself. And I'll start with the Ivory Coast because in French we say le bien-être commence par soi-même, which is the well-being starts with yourself,
Within,
basically,
yeah.
and also
Mhm.
being from the Ivory Coast. I'd like to have that first project done in the Ivory Coast. We already also have some land in Ghana and in Burkina Faso, because as we go and people hear what we're doing, we're being pulled from all over. But it's hard because we're limited in fundings. And everyone who has a nonprofit here in the US and all over knows that it's really hard to operate a nonprofit because mostly you will be starting with your own funds, which you have your own expenses, your children, your family that you need to take care of. And so we do need everyone's hand, everyone's help, everyone's idea, mostly, ideas and connections also, in order to make, I'll say, this happen, because we need training when it comes to doctors back home. We need trainings. We When it comes to CNAs, medtech, doctors, assistant, I mean, we do need that because, again, from what I see here and from what I've been seeing here, it's a totally different system when
Yeah.
you go to the Ivory Coast.
Yeah.
Um, a little story, my son and I went in February and he doesn't eat meat. So I was like, you know what, just try a fish. And he ate the fish 2 minutes. He started having hives. So I had to run to the pharmacy to get something for him. But when I got to the pharmacy, the lady said, yeah, if in 5 minutes it's looking this bad, you need to go to a clinic, which is not far from here. So we catch a cab, go to the clinic, we get there, and we sit there for 30 minutes while the hives are getting worse. Then they call us in and it's like, well, you have to go get this medication before we even touch him. So I had to go buy the medication, the gloves, the needles, whatever was needed for him to have that injection in order for them to even look at him. Well, then imagine if a family does not have money, but they have an
Wow.
emergency and they're walking into that medical center, what happens?
Yeah. 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 We don't even know what that's like in the States here.
Right.
And so I do think that's so important. And, it's just, it speaks to your vision of what we're gonna bring there, because we're gonna get that medical center done, and we're gonna make that happen with Mastermind. What are your goals and objectives just overall? It seems like BNet has so many different things that they do. They do the celebration of excellence. You do Christmas for all. I understand now the healthcare initiative. What's your overall goal? What's your overall vision for this?
Wow. The overall vision really truly is to be able to connect French Africa to the US. There's an issue when it comes to French Africa, it's the language because we speak French. And us being here in the US, when you're trying to bring someone to the Ivory Coast, it said, but I don't speak French. Then the people there, I mean, they're working on themselves slowly, but not everybody truly really understands English. And that barrier when it comes to the language is hard. And what Bienet wants to be or become, it's to become that bridge in between, you know, our organizations here in the US, our businesses here in the US, um, and the Ivory Coast first again, and then French Africa as we go. Because, as I mentioned before, the need in the Ivory Coast is the same need you have all over Africa. No matter, I mean, people go to South Africa and they're like, oh my God, it's beautiful. Yes, but the system is is what basically is avoiding a lot of people, or is pushing so many people to say, oh, I got to go to France, or I got to go to the UK, or I need to fight to get to the US, when really truly, if that system changes where, I don't have much, I'm just a lower class citizen, but if I walk into a hospital, I'm not asking to pay, thousands of dollars or hundreds of dollars in order for my kid or my wife or my
Mhm.
husband to be
Mhm.
seen. I think
Yeah.
people will want to give a lot more,
It'll make them
within
want to
their
stay.
countries, right?
Yeah. a hundred
So
percent.
So
Yeah.
it's really, really, really bringing what I have learned here, what I have taken from here, the people that I have met here, the great people that I have met here, and coming to our different countries and see how we can help better the system for the lower class citizen, most definitely, because the high class citizen have the money to fly anywhere they want in order to be taken care of, but the low class citizen that, barely has something to eat throughout
Yeah.
the week, is what we're looking at. And those kids also, because you never know who one will become. You'll meet someone and they're telling you, oh, because of 25 cents, he stopped school, but he might have been a senator tomorrow. You know what I
Or
mean?
an
So being
inventor.
able
Yeah.
to help those parents, help their kids go to school for that child to become what or who he is actually supposed to become, or who she is supposed to become, for me is important. um
I love what you said there about being that bridge. Because, that's what we're all about in Mastermind is building those bridges, connecting the dots, hunting together, working together. And I
mhm,
remember it made me think about last year when we did an interview and how much French you spoke in the interview that we did last year. So, that is real. And I think it's maybe something that we need to look into as Black Americans, you know being honoring the language, even
mhm.
though it's not. But if we speak French in this country, then we need to learn some French. So
Right.
I got two more questions for you. I want to dive into. I'm an African, not just Ivorian. Um, because you know it we can put these imaginary borders
Mhm.
up and then say, all right, now I identify as that, you identify as that.
Right.
And now we're not connected any
Right.
longer.
Right.
So tell us about what that means to you and how you're building those bridges and what Africa connected would mean or what that might look like.
Okay, so I've traveled quite a lot, mostly in Cote d'Ivoire, but I've gone to Nigeria, I've gone to Ghana, I've gone to South Africa. I haven't gone in the eastern part of Africa yet, but I'm making my way there this week to Uganda. And I've realized that anywhere I go in Africa, I connect. I connect with the land. I connect with the people. I basically connect. I can blend in easy.
Mhm.
When I went to Nigeria, I was speaking to someone and he said, where are you from? I said, I'm from Nigeria. He said, no, you're not. I said, I am from Nigeria. He said, no, because you're too quiet. You're too calm. We have hot blood in Nigeria. And you're not. So no, you're not. I said, I am. But we argued for about 35 minutes. He said, well, I give that to you. Maybe you were not born here, so I could understand that. But even if you were not born here, I'm pretty sure your parents are hot-blooded too. And we laughed. But I I connect with the land. I watched an interview of someone that said the first time he went to South Africa and he stepped foot on the soil, he was like, no, no, I belong. Anywhere I go, no matter where in Africa, I know I belong. I love Ivory Coast. I love Ivorian people, but I love all of Africa. And for me personally, I believe that if we do not put those barriers, like I'm going to Burkina Faso. Last year, someone said, "Why Burkina Faso? Why are you not coming to the Ivory Coast?" And I said, "When I do things in the Ivory Coast, how much do you donate?" Nothing. So I'm not limited to the Ivory Coast. I can go anywhere I feel like going because I know the need is there. I said, I told that specific lady that I spoke to a kid that hasn't had rice in 2 years because he's living on a refugee camp. And I throw away rice and I fight with my son here all day, every day. Like, seriously, you're not going to finish this? When people are out there lacking
They don't
even
know.
the minimum. So
Yeah.
if I can go and sit with that kid and put a smile on his face, that's everything to me. So I connect with children as well, no matter where they from. No matter where they from. And I feel like this is a huge calling. And sometimes I'm overwhelmed and I get tired and I'm like, you know what? I should probably focus my energy on the two kids that the Lord has given me. But I go to sleep and I wake up and I say, you know what? I gotta, dust myself up and keep it going because they need me. I have adopted kids from Burkina. I've adopted one from two, actually from Togo. I have adopted a couple from the Ivory Coast who the parents cannot afford to pay for the school fees anymore. And so yearly I pay for the school fee, yearly I pay for their uniforms, I pay for the books and everything that they need. And then the parents will take care slowly of everything as daily and that they'll need. I sponsored small businesses for the youth who is unable now to go back to school to get their degrees but is looking to better their lives. So they have little phone services for a few. Some of them I started small restaurants here and there in order to slowly build the life that they want to have. And it's interesting. Like I'm saying, I started a small phone service, and people will look at me like, how much? It didn't even take $200. But that boy today, yesterday when we spoke, he said, Mom, I'd like to send you 2,500. I said, okay. He said, because the village I am in, they don't have a cell phone store. So we have to wait till market day for other people to come with cell phones in order for people who do not have cell phones to purchase. Meanwhile, if I open my store, I know the community will have a store right here and there. And so they can come and purchase their phone and phone cases and chargers. So I'd like to send the money to you so you can start buying unlocked smartphones here and there that I can resell. He started 2 years ago. So, looking at this, it really warms my heart to see that I met someone while I was doing my little tourism and we spent a whole day together and I asked, well, what are you doing? And he said, well, unfortunately, I'm unable to go back to school because my mom could not afford it anymore. So I'm doing the guiding things in order to help her. And one thing led to another. And today he has become a small business owner. So,
And that's one of your pillars as well,
yes,
is the ownership. I saw that.
yes.
Um, Small business ownership. So, um, I wanted to just ask you about your team because, like, it seems like you've got a good team, and I love what you're doing. Like I really love what you're doing. So tell us about your team, and then I got one more question before we wrap up.
No problem. So, of course, everyone knows me. I'm working with Miss Anik Seri. She lives in California. She's right now going to school. She's going to school for IT. She's like, you know what? My project is to better Bien Etre, Bien Etre Foundation, not only the website, but anything communication wise, IT wise. And so she's getting her master's right now. She's almost done. And I pray for her and I bless her. And I'm looking forward to her graduating because we need it. I'm not technology savvy, but
You get the
I
job
put
done.
myself out there. Once in a while, I do what I need to do. Sometimes she's like, "Girl, this was yeah, no, I'm gonna have to step in," and she does what she needs to do. She's also working on our Helmsgiving program, which will come up later on when she's done with school. I'm also working with Monsieur Narcisse Ngouran. You basically had him on the interview last year when
Yeah.
we were doing the Christmas for All in Burkina. He is originally from the Ivory Coast, married to a woman who's from Burkina. So he is in between the Ivory Coast and Burkina Faso. He worked for Trace Africa, which is a little bit like I'll say BET here in the US. He worked for Trace Africa for over 10 years, but now he has become an entrepreneur. So he has businesses both in the Ivory Coast and in in Burkina Faso, and he actually is one of the major connectors for us when it comes to partnering with the different countries or organization in other countries because, again, of his background that he has. So he's our mentor. He is really, really a good pillar for Bien Etre because he gives us a lot of different consults and ideas and this year this is what we're going to do, this is what we're going to focus on and make sure that that is seen. He's helped us with having a lot of partnerships with the media also in different places that we go, and he's been a great blessing overall for Bien-Être.
I do
Yeah.
see you on the news quite often, so yeah, he might be good at what he does.
Yes, he's the man behind that.
Yeah, I do
He's
see
the
you on the
man
news
behind
quite
that. And of
often.
course, we have Mr. Ismail Kofi, who is someone that's very dear to me. He's like a younger brother to me. Extremely, I thought I was quiet, but he is way quieter. He works with the Minister of Justice in the Ivory Coast. So he's been able to connect us with the juvenile prison system in the Ivory Coast in order for us to sign a partnership and help them. Because the first day he spoke to me about it, I was like, "What? There's a juvenile prison system in the Ivory Coast?" He's like, "Yeah." I said, "Oh, I'd like to see that." So he introduced me to two different directors of those prisons. And they had told me the story behind having separating the children from the major prison with all the adults because the children
Still
before
children.
did not have their centers and they were put with the older criminals of the country, and when they come out, they first of all the mental health is not at 100%.
Yeah.
They were traumatized basically, and most of them will basically go back
Yeah.
instead of really working on themselves and focusing on the rehabilitation to go back into society better citizen. They will find themselves going back into the system and basically staying into the system. And
Yeah.
that's 2023, end of 2023, one of the centers opened. That's where we donated the computers and the first aid kits. You saw some children who when we spoke to them, said this one right here, those pictures, that's one of the directors, Mr. Siluer. And so we donated these because when we walked in, they had, it's kind of like a boarding school. The computer room had no computers, but they had 15 tables for computers. The library had no books. And I said, so if the kids needs to read or learn how to read, I mean, what are they using? So three months after we visited that specific center, we went back with some shoes, socks, computers, books, first aid kits for the kids and for the center, basically to have those surprises. So we do have a partnership with them next year. They were asking how to come in and have an event. I was actually speaking to Miss Antoinette about it because that's what she does in California as well. How we can sit down and have an event planned for those children. And boost them and be there for them and teach them certain things so that also they know that someone somewhere really far sees them, because it's all about that. We can have kids and they may feel they're not being seen. I take time and spend a few times with my kids, though my son drives into the roof, but we ask, how's your day? Have you been? So that he feels seen, because we can be in the house, but some kids may be feeling like, okay, well, it's only my sister that is being seen. It's only, my older brother that's being seen. They're focusing on my baby brother, but they're not asking me how I'm doing. So the whole thing is for those kids to know that yes, we are not in the Ivory Coast, but we are there for you and we're there with you. And the little opportunity that we'll basically get, we will make sure that you see our face, that, we talk, that we laugh, that we eat together, and that we let you know that there's hope, that this is not it. There is hope, and you just have to hold on and keep the faith as well, and all will be well.
Michelle, you're amazing. And when you do the stuff, I used to run a juvenile detention program from my nonprofit back in Nebraska, where I'm from. We called it brick by brick mentoring. So we would go in there, we would do a workout with the kids, we would ask them about their dreams, and then we
Mhm.
would get started working on those dreams together. And so it's super important because there's gyms in these detention centers because a kid may make a mistake
Right.
and now they're in that detention center, and if they are with adults, we could lose them for life, but they're still kids.
Absolutely.
And so that's
Absolutely.
super important. So I'm glad that I know about that now.
Hmm.
So that's something when you're looking to put together an event, I would love to host it. I would love to be a part of it. I will
Okay.
learn un peu Francois,
Un
but
peu de français.
un peu.
It'll come. Come
But
on, it'll come. We're working on it.
I will work on it. So by the
Yes.
time it gets there, I will be ready to go. By the time
Yeah.
we set something up, I'll be ready to go. But that's
No
wonderful. That's
problem.
wonderful. So my last question to you is we are Mastermind. I just want to know like what has Mastermind meant to you? Why are you a part of Mastermind? And how has it helped your business? And then we'll let you tell people how they can support you one more time.
No problem. Oh my God. Mastermind has been a blessing. I'll say very quiet. Like I just find comfort in a quiet zone. I could sit there all day and will not move. So with Mr. Preston here, I have learned and I'm still learning to step out of that comfort zone. And that's what the Mastermind family has brought me. Basically, come out here, mingle, present yourself, connect. And I have met amazing ladies, amazing. Sometimes I look at them and I'm like, oh my God, I don't believe I can be like this. But watching them inspires me as well, to keep on going out there, keep on meeting people, keep on explaining, or give an idea as to what I'm doing. Like even at work, people barely know that I'm running Bien Etre Foundation. They don't
I
know.
will tell everyone, Michelle. Come to your job and I will tell everyone.
I know. So they don't know. They don't know. But I reached out to my manager in May before our trip and I said, I need to travel and I need help. He said, what happened? He said, I need you to work on my luggages because I know we're going with a lot of things and they're heavy. And he was like, okay, you know what? I'll put a note and we'll help you out. And he says, well, when did you start this? I said, 2 years ago. And he's looking at me like, Michelle, seriously. So you've been paying for suitcases to the Ivory Coast when we can actually, I said, I'm sorry, sir. He said, it's all right. So I'm that kind of person. I just go, I do what I need to do, get up and come home. And what I do outside of work, for me personally, I feel like, it's not related. So it's okay. They don't need to know. But I have learned to, start talking about what I do, start sharing what I do. And I can be sitting on the plane next to someone and we'll strike a conversation and they'll say, well, what do you do? I leave the part of my professional life. And I say, well, I run a nonprofit. So and it's like, oh, really? I'm like, yeah. And I show them the pictures, of course, and the videos and the kids that we've met. And they're like, oh my God, this is really amazing work. And I met someone 3 weeks ago that connected me with an organization called the Sama. So it's all the purses of the Samaritan. I'll say it in French, but because I don't know what the pronunciation is in English. And I reached out to them and I was able to create a profile for Bien Etre there and basically show what Bien Etre Foundation is doing. And I was amazed as to how many people were on there too. I'm like, oh my God, how didn't I, but I'm like, okay, I opened my mouth a little and then I got this. Miss Daria was one person also that I have spoken to. That's she's amazing. She's amazing. She has a lot of ideas, a lot of connections, a lot of consoles. Also being African American living in Ghana, it's just amazing. The whole Mastermind family, Miss Shanice, I mean, um, Rise IPL PR,
Oh, Dad.
Olokun, Miss Denise. I mean, everyone I meet, I take, their positive side because they bring something new to Bien-être. And it's been amazing. It's been really, really amazing. You texting me to say, have you done your video? And I'm like, I'll do it tomorrow. And then I disappear on you.
Hey,
But it's been really a different learning um opportunity for me that I needed personally. I needed, on all level of my life because I've always been a quiet child and a quiet person. So I am like, geez, it's gonna take double my years to become, you know, who
no,
those people are because I'm like, Jesus, Michelle, you need a lot of work.
no, I think
But
that's
I'm getting there slowly.
one thing
I'm getting there.
about
And I
you.
do thank you for your patience and for pushing me because I needed that.
So one thing I will say about you is that you do so much amazing work and you don't give yourself enough credit. And, one thing that I try to do is at least help you see how amazing you are in the stuff that you do. I learn new stuff about you every time we talk, and, I just learned about this juvenile detention program and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh man, this is amazing. And so, I just think with champions like you, people who go out and who impact communities, who are such great leaders, you have such a giving heart, sometimes you need to be poured into as well. And so
Thank you,
that's what we
sir.
try to do with Mastermind and just try to make it easier for you to do the work that you do because you do so much. It's been great to see the work that you've done with Odette and with Alina with Trust Your Strength.
Mhm.
Just every time you're coming up with something new, you're thinking of some new innovative way to make a difference to help those kids. And, those are the people who, we love and those are the champions that we have in Mastermind. And that's why it's an honor to hunt with you and to work with you and to continue to make an impact. And we're going to build this medical center bigger and better and make it duplicatable so it's something that we can take everywhere across the world
Yes,
as a
sir.
model to help people. So let's go back to your website just one more time. How can
Okay.
people support you, and how can they get in touch with you if they are looking to do that? Again, it's bienetfoundation.org. You can see it right there
Mm-hmm.
at the top of the screen. And then how can people support you? How can people be a part of what you have going on?
We've been vetted by a couple of donation, I'll say, website. I did the Fidelity Charitable, and they approved me. So anyone who has Fidelity who would like to basically to Bien Etre, they can reach out to me. My phone number is 240-625-5798. We also have our email, which is Bien Etre Foundation in one word at gmail.com. We also have our Givelify website, or I will say Givelify account. That's basically the one that we mostly use for donations. Um, we use that, and anytime I'm sending a message here and there, I'm like, okay, you can use the the Givelify account to make your donation, because it's straight to the point, it's very easy, and it doesn't take too long in order for the organization to also get the fund. um, but mostly I will say in-kind donation of all sorts of things is needed. Monetary donation, most definitely, because those trips are not inexpensive. And when you have a minor, because I have a 9-year-old now, all of my trips I go with the kids to make sure that they also have the experience. Look at those kids that we are serving and not take things for granted, because they have everything they want or need. Um, Us being here and me being the mother that I am, but at the same time, I want them to not take,
For granted.
having what they have for granted, because all over the world, even here around the corner here, you will meet a kid that doesn't have what you have. So I go with them, and as much as we have fun, I let them observe a few things and we talk about it on our way back, so they know the importance of also giving back again, because it's the environment that you grew up in that you end up adopting when you become an adult. So I always want my children to give back whenever possible, to their friends, to you know the people that they meet, because you never know. You never know who you meet. Yeah, doesn't matter how he or she looks. Tomorrow may be a different story when you meet that person. So we were fortunate enough to, I'll say, grow up as Christians. And one thing my dad kept saying is like, you okay, well, you have a driver in New York City, okay? You have a cook and you have all these things, but don't be thinking that it's because you deserve it. It's because of my job. So if I drop dead today, this is all gone. You're going back to the Ivory Coast, and that's it. So you better be humble and treat people with love, okay? So my siblings and I grew up with that mindset as well, that um I can go to any village. I can go to any parts of Abidjan, which is our economical capital, but you have some ghetto parts, and I can walk in and I'm okay. Because you walk there with her humility and people look at you and they actually give you a lot of respect because it's like, oh my God, for someone who's from, where you're from, what are you doing here? But it's all about connecting with the people that meet you because not everyone live in a mansion. Not everyone lives in a beautiful apartment. Some people live in places where you have to walk in and you have to make sure that they're okay, that their family are okay, and let them know that, listen, we're all human beings at the end of the day. And so that's what I do, or I try myself, or no, not that I try to do daily,
You do it.
um so that everyone that meets me feel I'm a human being as well. You know what I mean? It's uh, for me it's the basics. It's the basic, and it's the one thing that has brought Bien Etre to this level, um you know with still as being a baby, because we are a baby, because you have major nonprofits out there, but he has brought some people on our path that have opened major doors for us. So I think it's all about the heart that we use to operate Bien Etre, and the people that we are. So we pray to stay humble and we pray to always connect with one another at each other's level as well, so that it's not, I have to kneel down here and look at you up there. No, let me kneel and look at you like we speak to our kids, um especially if we do not have that same status, I will say,
You can
so
look
that
eye to eye.
people also feel important.
Yeah. Looking eye to eye, seeing them for who they are instead of how everybody else sees them, seeing the God in them. So I love that. I just want to say thank you so much for the work that you do. Thank
Thank
you
you, Mr.
for just
Preston.
giving us the time. And I also want to say like and this is just specifically to you, you're a growing giant,
Thank you.
right? It's like giants start off as babies,
Mm,
but they end up giants. So you're a growing giant, and it is okay for you to be humble with who you are as a person.
mhm.
And we all should be humble with who we are as people. But your business and the stuff that you do, there's no more humility for that.
Thank you, sir.
Because if you're not, if
I will
you're not
take that.
if
Yes.
you're not telling people about the amazing stuff that you're doing, there's no way that they can support it. There's no way that they can be a part of it. And even today, I learned more stuff about the work that you do just from you sharing today. So I want to
Mm,
say thank you so much for the time. Thank you for
thank
being
you.
part of our mastermind family. And thank you for the work you continue to do. We're going to support that and we're going to put this out. And so, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Miss Michele Aka, Bien Etre Foundation. Thank you so much, Michele. And I need one quote from you before the people take off. One quote that that
Oh my
um
God.
that you want
One
to leave the
quote.
people, because in Mastermind we always talk about we are the hunters, not the hunted. We going out and we
Right.
hunting, we're going out and make it happen. So we need one quote from Michele to take us out, and then you will wrap us up, and then I'll wrap up with us.
One quote. I will say, when I started Bien Etre, you know how we say beyond, the sky is our limit. The sky is our limit. I've seen this quote that says, beyond the sky is our limit. And I love that quote because when you sit in an airplane, you go beyond the sky, right? So anytime I sit in an airplane and I look at outside, I said, yeah, beyond this is my limit. And that's been my stepping stone. That's what I have been walking every day. Um, with that, yeah, Still struggling. It's small team and, pulling and pushing here and there, but we're going somewhere. As long as we know that beyond the sky is our limit. So I've
Beyond the
kept that
sky.
quote on my phone. I'm not changing it.
I love it. I
I
love it.
have it on my lock screen at work. So that is the one quote that I will say, beyond the sky is our limit.
Well, if you want to go beyond the sky with Michelle, go ahead and go check out the Bien Etre Foundation. You can find them at biennetfoundation.org or on Giveify. Type in Bien Etre Foundation. Michelle, thank you so much. My name is
Thank
Preston I.
you.
Harris. I go by the Master Builder. This is a Mastermind Expo special exclusive before she takes off to continue to do the amazing work that she does. And we just appreciate everybody. And we'll see you same time, same place. We've got our mastermind family call and one call if you're looking to meet with Michelle. Michelle does come out to our Africa Mastermind on Tuesdays. You can
Yes.
find her quite often on that Tuesday. And she'll bless you with that. So I just appreciate you. Thank you so much. And
Thank you, sir.
it's just an honor to be connected with you. And we will continue to do this good work. And we go and build a medical center within by 2030. We're gonna
Most
have a medical
definitely.
center. We're gonna have a
Yes.
medical center. So thank you so much, Michelle. And I just appreciate you. And we'll talk with you soon.
You're right. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. All right. This is Mastermind Expo. We'll see you again soon. All right, Michelle. I'm gonna stop.